In this video, I'm going to show you how to automate your sales call follow-up process with AI. So we are going to be building this Zapier automation, which basically gets triggered as soon as you finish a Google Meet call with a prospect. Let's say you are on a sales call and now you have to follow up with that prospect by writing them a follow-up email where you highlight their needs they spoke about and then talk about the next steps going forward. Usually that's a manual process. And if you're anything like me, I'm quite lazy and sometimes I don't even send a follow-up email or it's just not done up to the standard that I want. What this automation does is it fully handles that entire process for you. As soon as you end the call, it places a beautifully written follow-up email in your email drafts that you can just go review and click send. And not only that, but it goes ahead and adds all the next step tasks that you need to do into your to-do list. The software that makes all of this possible is Notta, which is an AI note-taking software which will transcribe your video call and then use AI to generate notes on that video call and then triggers a Zapier automation which goes ahead and executes all the tasks like writing the email, sending the email, and adding items to your to-do list. Notta is actually our sponsor for today's video, and they were nice enough to give us a 10% off coupon code or promo code. So there is a coupon code showing on the screen, Leon10. So if you use that, you will get 10% off your first purchase with Notta. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how we're going to be building this entire Zapier automation from scratch. All right, it starts all the way from the Notta trigger when AI notes are added. It runs through some ChatGPT actions, and then it writes the emails. It sends out the emails via Gmail, adds the items to Google Tasks, and that is the entire process. So let me demo this for you so you can check exactly how it works. So we have this transcript over here, which was transcribed by Notta. All right, there you go. This is actually a Grant Cardone live sales call that I just downloaded from YouTube. All you need to do is click these three dots and click move to folder and move it to the sales call folder and click move. And that's what triggers the automation. That's all you need to do. So if I come to Gmail, if I refresh my drafts, there it is. All right, follow up on sales training program discussion. Okay, and there is the email. So it discusses the problem and then it goes ahead and it talks about the action items to move forward. I suggest we set up a call with Ed, blah, blah, blah. So you can see this is like hyper personalized based on everything that happened in that conversation. Right, and if we come here to our tasks, we can see these prep for Shannon. This was added. This wasn't there before. So these are the 4 to-do list items that need to get done. And once you get done, you can simply just mark them off your to-do list just like that. How cool is that? So that's what we're going to be building in this tutorial. If you want to make this easier for yourself, I have created a step-by-step guide with all the prompts and templates that you need to build this automation. You can simply go to futurize.com. I'll leave a link in the description below. Then you can just create an account. I'll just log in here. All right. Once you've signed in, you can then go to the template section. And the one you want to find is this one here, sales call follow-up email automation, and click open link on that one. All right, so here is the step-by-step guide and all the prompts that you can copy paste. If you want, you can always just like write out all the prompts manually, but this way it's just a lot quicker to just come here and click copy and paste it in as we build along. Step 1 is you want to create your Notta account. All right, so you can simply click this link to create an account. So if you are building along with this video, just note that you do need the business plan with Notta in order to use the Zapier integration. So at least you can use this code to get the 10% off the business plan. So once you've created your account, you'll be in the home section that looks like this. So you can see Notta give you a few different options on how to actually transcribe your calls. They give you instant recordings, you can upload, you can record online meetings, or you can record your screen. All right. What I'm going to show you today is how to connect it to your calendar so that every time you have a call, it automatically transcribes it for you. So you don't need to come here and do it manually. So we have the options to either use Google Calendar or Microsoft Outlook. They do also give you the option for Apple Calendar. So you can come request that over here. But I'm just going to click on connect with Google Calendar. And I'm then going to sign in with my calendar and allow the necessary permissions. All right. Cool. Now it's asking enable auto recordings for meetings. I'll say try it now. All right. And then you can give your bot a name so that this basically every time you have a call with someone, this AI is going to be sitting in the call like it's another member. So you can give it a name like not a bot, or you can just say AI transcriber, whatever you want to call it. So I don't have any upcoming meetings for today, but whenever they do occur, it will then automatically transcribe it and add it here to my records. Now that we've completed step 2, let's move on to step 3, which is upload and transcribe an MP3 file for testing. I have provided you guys with this link over here that you can come and copy. So this is just a quick way to upload a transcription without having to have a whole meeting with someone. So once you copy that link, you can come here to upload and transcribe, and you can see they give us the option to upload from URL. So I'm just going to click Control V, invalid link. Why is that? It's probably because I have that extra space in the beginning. There you go. I'll click confirm and then click next. And you want to choose your language. So I know this transcript was in English. I'll click upload and transcribe. Okay, and now it's busy uploading. All right, so this may take a couple of minutes. So just wait for that to finish. In the meantime, let me just show you what this is. This is actually a live sales call by Grant Cardone, who's basically a sales expert and a sales trainer. So in this video, he's busy trying to sell someone his sales training product. So it's quite a meta kind of example, but you can see here it's uploaded the MP3 file and it's busy transcribing. We're 21% of the way there. Let's just see how that's going. Cool. While we wait for that to finish, let's come here and see what the next step is. Step 4 is we want to create a custom template for sales call notes. All right, so what that means is we are going to take this transcript and Notta is going to use its own built-in AI functionality, which is going to generate custom notes for us. All right, so they provide us with a whole bunch of AI notes templates, but I'm going to show you how to create a custom note with the exact fields that we are looking for. We can just come back to home and you want to click on automations at the bottom here. And then after you click automations, you want to go to template library. So these are all the different templates they provide to us for different functions within a business. All right, some of them may be useful to you. We're going to be using this band template, which is basically a sales framework used to determine if a prospect is a qualified lead to sell them your product or service. So BAND stands for budget, authority, need, and timeline. Now we can just use this template they provide to us, but I've created a customized one which is more relevant to what we need. So you can come to workspace over here and you can see I already did it here before, but we'll create a new template and we can give it a name. So let's just go and see our instructions here. Okay, I'm going to click this, copy this prompt, and I'm going to come back. I'll name this sales call notes, add new prompt, and I'll just call it again sales call notes band. All right. So you can see here what it does is we instruct the AI to extract the band info from the sales call transcript, and the output must be that. All right, it must have the prospect's name, the budget, the authority, the need or pain, the timeline or trigger event, outstanding questions or missing info, as well as action items for me and action items for the prospect. All right, and then I have some extra instructions where I say it must provide exact quotes from the prospect. Okay, so I'll click save and save again. Now we have our custom template called sales call notes. Let's go check out our next step. We want to create a Notta automation to generate AI notes when a new transcript is added to a folder. All right, so we first need to create a folder called sales call for follow-up. All right, so I'll just copy this and then create the automation. So let me go show you how to do that directly in Notta. So if you come here and click on automations, if you're not sure how to get there, you want to basically come here to the bottom and click on automations, just like that. So I already have this automation from the demo that I just showed you. So I'll just deactivate this and I'm going to create a new automation to show you how to set it up. So you can see they provide you with two triggers, either once a transcription is completed or once a transcript is moved into a folder. Okay, so you can go with either of these. This transcription completed is more automated. So that basically means as soon as your Google Meet finishes, the transcript automatically going to get uploaded, and that's automatically going to run this trigger or trigger this automation. I don't want to do it like that. I want to use this new transcript in folder. And the reason for that is to just give myself more control of which transcripts are running through the automation. And that's because I might have a call with that email address that's not necessarily a sales call, so it doesn't need a follow-up email. It may just be some other kind of video call that I'm having. So I'm going to click on New Transcript in Folder, okay? And then we want to choose our specified folder. Before I do this, let me actually go and create a new folder so that you can see how to do it. So I'm just going to discard this. And you want to come to All Records over here and click Create New Folder. All right, so the folder name is Sales Call Follow-Up. Okay, I'm going to click Create. Now we have an empty folder called Sales Call Follow-Up, and you'll see it over here. There it is, Sales Call for Follow-Up. And now I'll go back to our automations, create automation. We're in a new transcript in folder, configuration. This folder is Sales Call for Follow-Up. Okay, and the action is to generate AI notes. And then we want to choose the template. So these are all the ones that provide to us. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see the ones that we added in our workspace folder, which is Sales Call Notes. So I'll click that. I'll then click Create Automations. Save and activate. Cool. By clicking Save and Activate, that means the toggle will be turned on for us over there. Cool. Let's also just maybe rename this automation from untitled automation to basically trigger Zapier workflow. All right, that's fine. I'll then click Save. All right, now that we have created our automation in Notta, next we want to sign in to Zapier and create a new Zap. All right, the Zap we want to create, we can call it Sales Call Email Follow-Up. So let's go to Zapier. All right, let me just close this. I'll come here and click Create, top left, and click on Create Zaps. All right, that's now created a new empty Zap. I can rename it up here. Sales Call Email Follow-Up. Great. If you don't know how to sign up or create an account for Zapier, you just go to zapier.com. So that's zapier.com. And then you can create an account and just add a new Zap. Another thing I should note is you might need a paid plan to actually publish this automation. You should be able to build it on the free plan, but if you actually want to activate it and publish it so that it works, you will need the pro plan on Zapier. And that's because this is a multi-step Zap. All right, it's not just one trigger and one action. There's a whole bunch of actions inside of this automation. So now we can go ahead and add a Zapier trigger for new AI notes and connect our Notta account. So to do that, we can click on trigger over here, and then we want to search Notta, and then we can select it over there. Cool. So we can choose a different trigger event. They give us 3 options we can choose from: when new AI notes are created, when a new transcript's been transcribed, or when notes have been made public or shared publicly. We are using this one here, new AI notes, all right, because that's what we set up inside of Notta, okay? And then we can configure the account. So I've already configured mine, but how you would do it is you would come to the account, click Connect New Account, and then it should take you to Notta to sign in and activate. So you'd click Allow. That is this Zapier over here. So I'm just going to click Connect. Okay. Let's just go back to Zapier. Just close this. And then the account should then be connected. So you can see there's the second one, which I just connected right now. Great. So we have that. I can then click Continue. All right. Then in your workspace name, just choose the default one that shows over there. In my case, it's Leon's workspace. And you can leave these all as the default. I'll click Continue. next we need to test this trigger. So I'll click test trigger. Okay, and you can see it gives us this AI notes over here with these dummy values. I'll then click continue with selected record. Cool. So the test was completed. That's all good because you can see we have this green check mark, which means it tested successfully. All right, now I'm just going to delete this Google Calendar event. We're not going to be using that. All right, let's move on to our next step. Next step is we want to add ChatGPT analyze text action, and we want to go and get our OpenAI API key in order to set this up. For that, you are going to need to load your billing details, and you might need to add some credit to your OpenAI account in order to actually use that API key. Okay, and then you can create your new API key and connect it to the ChatGPT action. To get your API key, you can go to this link over here, platform.openai.com/settings. Here it is. I'll then click create new secret key. I'll give it a name. Let's call it Zapier follow-up demo. You can create a project and set it to that if you want. I'm just going to leave it to the default. And then click create secret key. Okay. Remember, you want to keep this key a secret. You don't want to share it with anyone because then they can run API requests on your billing account. So just make sure not to share that with anyone. I will be deleting this after this video. So I'll copy that. Then we can come to Zapier and want to add a step. The step we want to add is our ChatGPT action. There it is by OpenAI. The event we want is this analyze text. And this is because what we're going to set up now is basically a qualification automation to check, is this prospect qualified, yes or no? So those are the two outputs. It's either qualified or disqualified. So I'm going to go to analyze text. We then want to select our OpenAI account. So I'll select here. I've already configured these two. I'm going to show you how to do it because you'll be doing this for the first time. So click create new account, add in your API key, and then organization ID. I'm just going to leave that blank and click yes, connect. Here is our API key that's been connected. Perfect. I'm then going to click continue. Now the text to be analyzed is going to be the notes from the previous step over here. Remember when we ran this generated some AI notes, which would be in this field over here. Here is the summary. That is basically what we want to pass into here. But we don't just want to pass that, we want to pass in some extra stuff. So you can see here, I've written out a prompt, which is basically describing how to determine if that prospect is qualified or not. So you can see we have some variables we just need to configure here. The product or service name needs to be replaced over there, as well as over here. And then at the bottom, this is where we can enter our notes for the band notes. So I'm going to copy this entire thing. I'll come back here. I'll paste that in over there. And then here it says enter product or service. So whatever your product or service is, in your case, you can just write it out over there. The more details, the better. So I'll just keep it simple, sales training, because that's what Grant Cardone is selling in this transcript. It's a sales training package, right? If the prospect does not have the need or paying for sales training, they must be disqualified. The band notes over here, I'm going to delete all of that. And then you want to put / for the shortcut. And then you'll see here is the previous step, new AI notes in Notta. You then want to select this field, which is notes. Next thing you want to do is choose the model. I'm generally a fan of using the smarter models. Sometimes when it's a really simple request, you can use a less intelligent one like GPT-4o Mini, but usually your automation will be much more reliable when you're just using the smartest model available. O3 is probably the smartest, and O1 is probably also quite smart, but for a task like this, you don't need like any research or chain of thought prompting. So we don't need to use one of these reasoning models. We can just stick with this standard base model GPT-4o. Next, we want to choose analysis type, and you can see we have 3 options. We want to use this classify into categories, all right? And we can then enter our categories. The one would be qualified. Click enter, and the other would be disqualified. And make sure it's written exactly like that, because that's also what we tell it in the prompt over here. It must choose qualified on those conditions, and it must choose disqualified on the other conditions. And then the temperature over here, I would recommend you set this to 0. Usually a lower temperature means the response is more accurate. A higher temperature means the response is more creative. There's no need for having a creative response here. We just need 100% certainty. Is this prospect qualified or disqualified? So it's best to set a lower temperature in this use case. Cool. I'll then click continue. And once again, we need to test the step. So I'll click test step. Okay. And we can see in this case, the prospect was disqualified. And that's only because the notes that was passed in from here, from this example test, was here is the summary. So it didn't really have much to go off of. So that's actually correct. It should have disqualified that because there's nothing actually to qualify. Cool. Now we can even go ahead and publish this. So you can click this publish button, and there you go. The Zap is now published. All right. And it's also saved, but we want to still continue building this. So I'll click edit Zap. Now we're moving on to step number 10, where we need to extract the first name of the prospect from the AI notes. Right. And the reason for that is we want to use that first name of the prospect inside the email that we send to them. It's just good to personalize your emails, because it's just good manners, as well as it improves deliverability for your email to land in the prospect's inbox. Let's go and set that up. So back in Zapier, we can add a step. Once again, we want to search ChatGPT. All right. And I should also note there are also some other AI actions that kind of use ChatGPT in the background. I'll show you that in a moment. But for now, I'll continue with these ChatGPT actions. Select action event. And what we want here, we no longer want to analyze text. We actually want to extract something. So if you scroll down a bit, you will find an action called extract structured data. If you want to use this one, make sure you don't choose the legacy one. Choose this one, which is the newer one. Okay. And our account is automatically configured. I'll click continue. And here we can add our unstructured text. All right. In our case, it's the AI notes from step 1. There it is. And then the model we want to use, I guess we can leave it as this one, but once again, I'm just going to go to the smarter model just so we know it's reliable. And then for the description, I have the description over here, which we can copy, which is extract the first name of the prospect from the unstructured text provided. So I'm going to copy that, and then you paste it in over here. Values to extract. Then I'm just going to write the field name, which would be first name. And then from there, you can go and give a description for the first name. So I have that here as well, which we can just come and copy, which is the first name of the prospect, not the first name of the sales agent. I just clarified that in case it makes that mistake, because there are 2 names that would be shown in the transcript. Even though I do summarize it in the first step, we do extract the prospect's name and we put it in the AI notes. If you're wondering where that is, that was in this beginning step here. You can see here we have prospect name. So that's where it gets extracted to in the response. All right, we should probably run this as well just to see how it's going before I keep building. But let me just finish this step. Should the first name be required? It generally should be. I'm just going to click false, just in case it breaks, in case there's no first name, because I still wanted to write that email draft even if there's no name. But it should in general always include that first name. What data type is it? We can choose here. Is it a string, a number, a Boolean, which is like true or false? They give us a whole bunch of options, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to go with string. Okay. And what are the possible values? You can write a whole bunch of options, like just write random names there, just to give the AI some examples of the first names. I'm just going to leave that blank. It should be a simple enough process for the AI to figure out on its own. Keep the temperature to 0. That's good. Continue. And let's test. So I feel like this isn't going to work because there's no first name in the prompt. Let's just see what happens. Data art, first name, summary. All right, so it detected the word summary as a name, which is okay. I mean, at least we have this value here to actually extract. But let's go and test this out. I'm going to publish this. All right, we can give this a version name like extract name. I'll then click publish. All right, it's just good to give it a name just so you have like some logs of your different versions. All right, so that's published. Let's go to our Zaps. This was the one that I created for the demo, so I'm just going to disable this so it doesn't run both. And I'm just going to keep this one enabled, which is the one we're busy building now, the sales call email follow-up. Cool. So now I can come here to Notta. Our transcription should have finished by now, which is Grant Cardone live sales call. So if I open up this transcript over here, you'll notice that it hasn't identified the speakers. All right, so I can come do this manually, right? I can come and write Grant like so, and then add Grant as the guest speaker, and then it should assign the name, and then I can come here and choose, say, Shannon. And they give you the shortcut to apply to all, but you see, this is going to apply to every single one. It's not going to know that these are being iterated between Grant and Shannon, which is not good. To solve this problem is when you're transcribing it, you want to choose the number of speakers. So usually when you're using Google Meet, I mean, this will all be handled automatically. It's because we're busy uploading transcripts from Google Drive that this is happening. But a workaround or way to do this is I've also provided the link to the MP3 file directly. So if you click this, you can come and download this MP3 file. And then when you come and upload, instead of uploading it from Google Drive, you can upload the MP3 directly, which is this one here. Then click next. And you can see here, now it gives you the option to identify speakers. All right, so configure speaker identification. We want to say identify speakers. And then in this drop down, you want to specify how many people were in this meeting. This gives the AI a better idea to know how to actually categorize this. So we want to choose 2-person meeting. You can also choose bilingual transcription. So if you're having a meeting with people speaking multiple different languages, Notta can handle that as well, which is pretty cool, right? But I'm going to keep ours to English. I'll click upload and transcribe. Okay, so now it should re-upload this transcript. So I'm just going to wait for this to finish, and then I'll show you how to configure the names. Great, so the transcription is now complete. So let me open that up, and you should see it looks a little bit different now. And yes, it does. You can see now it's got speaker 1 and speaker 2. So it's actually set them all up so we don't have to go through each of them manually to configure who's who. Then we can just come here and change the names. So this is Grant, but just for my case, I'm just going to use my name as if it was me who was on this call. I'm going to say apply to all speaker 1s, right? And then over here, I'm going to choose Shannon, which was the prospect's name, apply to speaker 2. Cool. So there you have it. And the reason I'm using my name here is just so that when we're configuring the email's coming from me as opposed to the emails coming from Grant, because it's going to be sent from my email account. To trigger this automation, the whole reason we did that is because we were just trying to test this out to see if what we've built is working so far. So there's 2 ways to actually trigger these AI notes. The one is moving it to the folder, and there is another quicker way to do it. But for now, I'm just going to demo it this way. Later, I'll show you another way to do it. So I'll come here, move, and I'll say move to folder, sales calls for follow-up, move. Now, doing that, if I open this up quickly and open this, you should see it should have an AI note being generated on the left. There you go. It says generating sales call notes band. Great. So any second now, the AI notes will be generated, and that will then automatically trigger our Zapier zap. We can even come and see here. If we go to Zap history, okay, refresh. Sometimes Zapier can be a little bit buggy. These are the notes that it's generated for us. So you can see it's got the prospect name is Shannon, and it even adds extra information saying representing a company with Ed as the principal decision maker. That's useful information to know because when you're making a sale you kind of need to have the decision maker on the call. So that's useful to know. Then it's got the budget. It's summarized the budget for us. It's basically talking about what they're currently spending on training, exact supporting quotes from the prospect. All right. So it's got the actual quote of what Shannon was saying on the call. Okay. Authority, it's saying Shannon's not the final decision maker. It is the principal who makes final decisions. That's useful to know. Right. The pain. So it talks about how they need sales training. All right. Addressed by Leon's program. All right. It's saying Leon over here because, I had the name Leon set up over here. Might be a bit confusing for the AI if it's got the word Grant somewhere else, but I didn't think so. Cool. So there's here's the action items. So you can see there's 3 action items for me, 3 action items for the prospect. Cool. So let me just go back and go to Zapier, refresh this. But I'm not sure why this hasn't triggered yet. And based on all of this, it should have run. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go, sometimes what you need to do, sometimes if a Zap's not working, you can come here, edit, and then let me try change to the other account. Maybe having 2 of the same things connected is confusing it. Continue. Maybe for you it would have worked fine, but in my case, it's giving this issue. Okay, cool. Let me republish this. Changed Notta account. Publish. That might be a Zapier bug, but that shouldn't have happened. Okay, published. Cool. Now we come back here. I'm going to go back to our sales call for follow-up. And remember, all you need is this note created to trigger the Zapier workflow. So I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to click Template Library, go to Workspace, and choose our sales call notes. Okay, so now this is generating. This should now then trigger that Zapier workflow. This is the same thing as just like moving it into this folder, because remember we have that automation which automatically generates the AI notes after moving the transcript into the sales call for follow-up folder. So this is running now. After this runs, it should then trigger our Zapier workflow. So this is why it's also important to test things as you build. All right, so generating, cool. That's generated. That looks good. Here's our action items. Here's all our band summaries. Let's go back here to Zapier. And I'm going to come to Zap history. And now there should be a new one over here. Let me refresh. There it is. Great. Sales call email follow-up. So click into that. And we can see the notes were passed into the trigger over here. Sales call notes band, prospect name, Shannon, budget, blah, blah, blah. Cool. It even includes the entire transcript content if you want to use it in Zapier, which is pretty cool. That's quite useful, especially timestamps. Anyway, then we analyze the text and let's see what it decided. It decided that this candidate was qualified, and that is true because I have listened to the sales call and I know that it is a qualified candidate. All right, and then extract structured data. Okay, and we can see the first name is Shannon. So that did a great job at extracting just the name. Perfect, that's working well so far. So let's continue building this. So I'll come back to our sales call email follow-up and click Edit Zap. And let's go see where we are. We have just completed step 10, which is extract the first name. Now we want to do step 11, AI action by Zapier to extract my action items for to-do list. That should be to-do list, not yo-do list. I guess yo can do it too. That was a bad joke. Anyway, I'm going to copy this prompt, all right? And we're going to be using this prompt in a different way, okay? And I'm going to show you why. So can come back here. So in order to basically extract all the action items, remember in the AI notes, we had, let me just show it to you. If I scroll down here, we have all these action items for me to do. So in this case, there's 3 items I need to do. The one is set up a call with Ed when he returns to the office, prepare to address potential objections about contract length versus month to month, blah, blah, blah. We need to basically extract these items to get each item as a separate item, almost like an item in an array, where each action item is a different item in an array, so that we can pass that later on into our Google Tasks, so that we can add each item separately in Google Tasks. So you can see these are different action items added separately. That's what we kind of need to get to. And the way we do that is by having a structured output as an array. Now, the ChatGPT module, they do actually provide a feature for this. Let me actually show you here. When we were configuring the structured outputs, the data type, you can see they also have an array of strings. So I tried setting this up with this ChatGPT module, and it actually just didn't work. I don't know if it was a bug or if I just wasn't setting it up correctly, but I went ahead and used the Zapier or the built-in Zapier AI features to do this. So I'm going to click on Action. You then want to go to AI, and then you want to go to Extract. Okay, because we're going to be extracting the action items. All right, so you can see here it gives us a prompt that's very detailed, and it even ranks how good it is, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to delete this and paste our prompt, which is the one I got from over here. The instructions are locate the section action items for me, and then extract all the action items, and then they must be separated by a new line, delimited by a semicolon, and then don't use semicolons anywhere else. That's because we're going to be using the semicolon later as a delimiter to separate all those action items. All right, so ideally we would want the output to be an actual array, but like I said, for some reason it wasn't working when I tested it out earlier. So this is fine. The output fields, we can delete this, and the output field is just going to be add a field. Field name is going to be action items, and we can leave it as text. All right, it would be cool if they had kind of like an array of text over here that we could do, but looks like Zapier don't provide that function directly over here. Field description, we can then write list of action items separated by new lines and semicolons. That should be good enough. Is this output field required? I'm going to leave this as disabled because there might be the case where it's not actually, or there's no action item required based on the conversation that was had. So I'm going to leave that disabled, and I'll click save. Cool. We also want to provide the input field or the source data. So remember, this prompt is referencing the actual AI sales notes that are generated. So we'll come here and select that as the source notes. Cool. Is this an image? No. I'll click save. Cool. We can even change the source over here. We can call this like, I don't know, notes, transcript, notes, and click save. All right. Now we can click generate preview. Be interested to know because the input here is just, here is the summary. So you can see here, the output is just the word null. And that's correct because I actually gave it the instructions. If there are no action items found under action items for me, respond with null, which it did, which is perfect. Cool. I could also just say respond with an empty string. That might be better actually, but it's fine. I'll leave it like this for now, and I'll click publish, and I'll call this extract action items. Cool. Publishing. Alrighty. We can also just rename these things as well. It's probably good practice to rename them. I'll just do that quickly. So to edit these, you just click these 3 dots and you click rename. So I'm just going to rename these all very quickly. So I just gave them new names: qualify prospect, extract first name, extract action items. Next, we want to now split on the path if the candidate is qualified or not qualified. So you can see here, add a flow control to split paths for qualified or disqualified prospects. Use output from step 9, which is the category qualified or disqualified. So let's go set that up quick. You can come and click plus over here to add a step, then go to flow controls, and then you want to click on paths. Cool. Then we can also rename these. So the left one I'll call qualified, and the right one I'll call disqualified. Then I'm going to click on this path over here, and we have a custom rule, right? That's fine. Only continue if the qualified prospect category, right? This is the output of qualified or disqualified category. And then the condition is you want to make sure it exactly matches. Make sure you're using text, because we're using text here. We're not using dates or numbers or anything. We're using text exactly matches. And it must exactly match the word qualified, just like that. Then you can also set other and or all conditions, which is pretty cool. But in this case, it's super simple. It's just qualified or disqualified. So I'll come here and do the same thing. Exactly matches disqualified. Cool. Have this little warning over here. So it's always good to just click continue to test it. All right. Great. Now we have that green check mark. I'll do the same here. Continue. Cool. If you've made it this far, well done. You're making good progress. In the next step, we are now going to be using AI to actually write that personalized email to this prospect. All right. There's two types of emails, either if they're qualified or disqualified. So there's going to be different prompts depending on that. So to do that, we can come to action, type in ChatGPT. All right. And the same this side. Cool. I'll do the left one first for if it's qualified. Choose an event. Then the action we want to find here is you can also search. I'm going to type email, and this is the one we want. Write an email. All right. So this writes the content of an email based on your provided prompt for use in a subsequent step. That's exactly what we want, because our subsequent step is going to be using the Gmail create draft action to create the email draft. We'll click continue, configure the recipient name. So who's receiving this email is going to be the first name that we extracted over here. All right, so we can select first name. The recipient's email, so that's who is actually receiving this. Now, you'll know that we haven't actually got access to this email address. All right, so it doesn't get passed in anywhere in any of these previous steps. I thought it might be here, but it's actually not, because this is just like transcript details. It doesn't have details of the actual call or members on the call, which would have been pretty cool. So that's something that's going to have to be added manually. So when you are like reviewing the email draft, you would just go and copy paste or type in the person's email before you send it, which I don't mind. But if you do want to automate this step, which populates the email address, let me just type email again here. If you do want to have this step automated, you would probably have to have a separate Zap that when a Google Calendar event finishes, it then takes the recipient's email and saves it to like a Google Sheet or something. And then in this workflow, you just pull the value from the Google Sheet and pass it into this field. It's a bit of an overkill, not really necessary. So I don't mind doing this step manually. So let me just come reconfigure this part. Recipient name, recipient email. Since it's a required field, I'm going to write the recipient's first name, and I'm going to say at change this email.com. All right. Cool. From name, I'm going to send this from myself. All right. So I'll just write Leon. Okay. And then the email prompt, we can copy from here. Right. Add ChatGPT writes email action for qualified prospects. So I'm going to copy this And you can see over here, we need to enter the prospect's name and here the AI notes. So let's go do that. I'll paste that in. Into the prospect's first name, / extract first name, like that. So now we have the dynamic variable there. And then the AI notes go over here. So I'll right click, new AI notes. Cool. That looks good. So basically the instructions are, it must be a follow-up email body without a subject line. The objective of the follow-up email is to first confirm mutual understanding of the problem in their own words. And the reason it can do that is because we included the actual quotes inside of the AI notes from the transcript. And then here it says, secondly, lock in the next steps based on the action items in the notes below. And then here's the notes, and then it's got all the details. The tone, you can choose between formal, neutral, or casual. I'll keep it as neutral. Body type, I'll keep it as plain text. Model, I want to come and change this to a smarter model, GPT-4o. And then temperature is set to 0.7. I mean, that's okay. That should be good enough. I'm actually going to change this to 0.3. Don't want it to be too creative. We want it to be like more accurate than creative, but still a little bit creative. So I think 0.3 is a good balance. You can always test this out. It's a variable. You can tweak it and see how the emails look. I'll then click continue. And then let's test the step. Cool, succeeded. All right, so here's the email that it wrote based on like the dummy data that it had. Hello summary, because it thinks summary is the person's first name, blah, blah, blah. There's the action items. Okay, that's fine. I know when this runs with actual data, it'll have a really good email here. Same thing, the recipient name, recipient email. We'll do the same thing as before. First name at changethisemail.com. From name, Leon, email prompt. You can copy it from here. So this is the prompt for disqualified candidates. We just need to enter the AI notes. So let's go do that. Paste that in, delete that. AI notes, there you go. So here we politely explain why the client's not a good fit for now based on the notes below. However, leave the door open for future engagements. All right. Tone neutral, cool model, GPT-4o. Max tokens, that's fine. Temperature, 0.3. Cool. I think that's fine. I'll then click continue, test step. Great, that succeeded. Dear client's name, blah, blah, blah. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the steps for actually creating the email draft. So I'm going to come to Gmail. All right, and you want to then choose the event. So the event is create draft. All right, you can also just send the email directly, but I don't advise that. Also, you need access to the email address, which we don't have. But even assuming we did have that, I still wouldn't recommend you send the email directly. It's always good to just have a human in the loop to proofread the email before it actually gets sent out. Because remember, this is sales. You don't want to make a mistake because it could cost the company a lot of money by relying fully on an AI to send that email. All right, account, select an account. So I've already signed in with mine. So you can just click connect in your account and then sign in with your Gmail account and then it'll work. I'll select my leon@futurehouse.com. Also note they do also have like other stuff. So if you use Outlook for your email, you can always just come here, choose Microsoft Outlook, and then use create draft email and then connect and sign in with your Outlook email instead. So that's an option. Okay, so create draft. Who are we sending this to? All right, so we can see this isn't a required field because there's no asterisks over there. There is over here. The subject line is required, but the to field is not. So I'm just going to leave that blank. All right. The subject line, we can actually get that from the output of this over here. So you'll see it actually generates a subject line for us, follow up on our recent discussion. So that's good enough. So I'll come here and put in, select this drop down and choose our subject line. Who's it from? All right, this is the email address it's getting sent from. So it's the account we signed in with. From name, so we can just write my name, Leon, All right, so you just write your name over there. Body type, plain is fine. The actual body is the body over here in the write an email. Okay. Add signature. I don't know if I want to do that. I'll leave that out for now. Label. We can also label the mailbox. I'm not going to. It's fine. I'll leave that out. And that looks good enough. Okay. I'll click continue. Test step. All right. Cool. It was successful. That means it should have actually added in a draft over here. Let's test. Yes, it did. There you go. Follow up on our recent discussion. And there it is. Okay. That's good. So that means that's configured. We then need to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to run through that quickly. Email, create draft, same account, continue. So it's the same configuration as we did on the left. I'll click continue. Test step. Success. Let's go see if that added in our new draft. Let's refresh. There it is. Regarding our recent discussion, blah, blah, blah. Cool. And you can see this is where I'm going to enter in the person's name. So I'll probably just come to like my calendar and then click on the meeting and then like just copy the email address like this and then like paste it in like that, something like that. So we've created our email drafts for Gmail or Outlook, created the task lists. All right, so this separates the tasks for different prospects. Okay, so now we're going to set up the step which basically adds all those task list items into Google Tasks, and we're going to name the list to do for prospect name. All right, so just like we had here, prep for Shannon, it's going to be called to do for, in this case, it'll be to do for Shannon. And then it's going to add in all the items here. So the way you set this up is we're only going to be doing to do items for qualified candidates. If they're disqualified, we can assume there's nothing to actually do because we're not moving ahead with that prospect. So we're going to only add action items for this step. So I'm going to click add step, and then I'm going to go to looping, flow controls, and then run for all following steps repeatedly. Now, the reason we're using this looping event is because action items aren't fixed. Some calls will require 0 action items or to-do items. Some will require 1, some 2, some 3, some 4, etc. All right, so it's a dynamic value. That's why we couldn't just set it as a fixed workflow. We need a looping mechanism because it's a variable value. So you can see there's a few options here. You can create a loop from line items, you can create a loop from numbers, or you can create a loop from text. Now we know the output from this previous step up here, okay? The output, if we look at this, is just text, okay? So that's why over here, we have to configure this with create loop from text. And then remember in the prompt, we basically told it that it must end each action item with a semicolon. I can just remind you over here, the output format is going to look like this. In our case, it was just null, but when there are action items, it's going to look something like this. And then we have these semicolons at the end of each line, which is going to be used as a delimiter. I did try the new line as a delimiter, but it wasn't working because our input is just one big block of text. So here, instead of a comma, I'm going to replace this with a semicolon. And the values we're going to loop through is the action items. So I'll just give that a name. And over here, I'm going to pass in extract action items. And then we want to choose this action items over there. All right. Trim white space. So that's basically empty, just like white spaces on the left and right of the text. I've left that as true because it's kind of irrelevant to include white spaces on the left and right. So that's fine. Loop iteration counter. So here is where you can basically set how many action items essentially you want to scrape. So like, let's say you only want a maximum of 3 action items ever, you can cap it to 3, something like that. But I want this as high as possible, so I'll leave it as a default on 500 because it's only ever going to be a value between, say, 1 and 10 action items, or 0 and 10, actually. So I'll just leave it like that. I'll click continue. And now is the test. All right, so I'm curious to see what happens now. Let's see, test step. Okay, cool. It ran successfully, and yeah, that looks like it ran fine. Action items. So this is the output. It looks like this is where the actual action item name would be, under action items. All right, so we can continue. I'll click add step. And now we want to use this Google Tasks. You can also search for tasks and then click on Google Tasks. Okay. And over here is where we can basically loop through each of these action items and add them as a task. So I'll come here to action event and click create task. All right. And our account, I'm already signed in. So you can click connect a new account, and then you can sign in with your Gmail account. All right. The same one you used before. If you're using Microsoft, you can also use something like Microsoft To Do. You could also use this over here as well. And then you can choose create task like that. All right. But we're just going to be using Google in this case. All right. And over here, you can see we need to choose a task list. So I can either choose one of the static ones I already have, but what I want to do is something a little bit more advanced. I want to create a new task list for every new sales call, so that inside of my tasks over here, all of these are going to be separated into different task lists, if you can call it that. So the way you would do that is, before this even begins, we're going to add a step. We're going to come to Google Tasks, and instead of creating a task, we're going to create a list. Create task list. Okay. Make sure you connect your account. Click continue. And the list title is going to be to do. And then we're going to put in our prospect's first name. All right, cool. Continue. Let's test this. So it should say to do for summary. You can see currently there's only my tasks and prep for Shannon. Let's go see if I click test step. All right. That ran successfully. Coming back here, there it is, to do for summary. Great. I'm just going to delete this. Delete list. All right. I'll come back here and continue. Now that we have our task list, I'm going to come back here, and instead of choosing one of these static task lists, I'm going to click these three dots and I'm going to choose custom. And this is a little bit of an advanced trick, but what you want to do here is you want to click / and then we want to choose the create task lists ID. So that's basically the output from this action over here is going to be the input for this task list. And that means every time it creates a new task here, it's going to be using the task list generated there. Okay. The title for the actual task is going to be, if we come to this looping output, it's going to be this action items field over here. All right. Ignore all the ones which say preview. All right. It's going to be the one that just says action items, as we named it. You can also add some extra notes over here if you want any additional details. Maybe you want to include all the notes from the entire sales call. That might be useful, but I'm just going to leave that blank and I'll click continue. It says failed to create a task in Google Tasks. The app returned not found. Help me fix this. Okay. The reason that happened is because looking for this task list ID that I just deleted, and now it's not able to actually create it. So I guess a way I could do that, actually, you know what? I'm just going to click skips test and I'm going to leave it like that because I know that'll work. Now I'm going to click publish and I'm going to say finished. I'll just say tasks completed. You can call that whatever you want. Publish. New version is now published. All right. Now let's go and test if this is working once again. So I'll come back here to Notta and I'm going to come and delete our notes from earlier and I'm going to regenerate them. Use this template. Okay, so now it's busy generating the notes and that should then come and trigger I come to Zaps, Zap history. All right. So this is the one from earlier. It should now trigger a new one when this finishes running. There you go. Notes have been generated. That means this should have triggered. There you go. We can see it's busy running right now. There you go. It's busy running. And done. Cool. So let's go check it out. Let's go see. First, let's check our Gmail and let's refresh this. And here you go. So this is what a real world output would look like. Follow up on sales training discussion. Click on that. We can see it greets the prospect by name. And here it is. I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to follow up on our recent conversation to ensure we're on the same page regarding your company's needs and the next step. From our discussion, I understand your company is seeking comprehensive sales training for your 18 staff members, blah, blah, blah. But we can see here are the action items to move forward. Here's the next steps. I will schedule a call with Ed for Friday, blah, blah, blah. All right. Best regards, Leon. Great. This looks great. So then I would just tweak this however I like if I want, and then add in the recipient's email. Let's come to tasks. We can see here it automatically added the tasks I need to do for Shannon. And here are the 4 tasks. All right. So I need to prepare to show how training can complement the existing marketing spend, schedule a call with Ed when he returns, likely Friday, be ready to demonstrate ROI, and prepare to address potential objections about contract length versus month to month. So those are things that basically came up on the call that I would need to be prepared for. If you made it to the end of this video, congratulations. You have now built an automated system, which is going to save you so much time. Instead of having to write out those follow-up emails manually, you now have an AI doing it for you, and probably even better. I hope it saves you a lot of time, and I hope it gets you a lot more deals closed with your sales. Thank you so much for watching. Please do thumbs up this video if it was helpful. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. My name is Leon Petru. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next.